I'm going to speak to you tonight about getting back on course. So, sometimes things happen and, we're doing good for a while and then one little bitty hiccup and wow, things happen. So let's, what I wanted to share with you is from a book and some articles that I've read about food illusions. So, and this is, I'll show you the author in a second, but I wanted to go over why we eat more than we think we're eating, and then talk about small changes that we can make in our food environment to help us out. So, and you can jump in and share stuff at any time. So, all right, so this is the book, Mindless Eating, and it's by Brian Watson. And he's also been called the Sherlock Holmes of food. He is a professor of nutrition. It's really kind of like food psychology, and they're looking at different groups of people and how much they eat and how much they think they've eaten. Estimates of, how many calories or how many ounces of things they've eaten in different situations. So, how many of you like to eat popcorn at the movies? Yes. Okay. So, the buckets of popcorn come in all sizes. So, they had different groups of people get their bucket of popcorn, either a small, medium, or large, and then they went into the theater and they watched their movie, and then the buckets were collected at the end of the movie, and they would measure how many cups of popcorn people had eaten, and then how many cups they thought they had eaten. So who do you think is going to eat more? The people given the smaller bucket or the larger bucket of popcorn? Who would eat more popcorn? The people eating the smaller or the larger bucket? Yes. So you give someone a bigger bucket of popcorn, bigger than they would normally buy, and they will eat more of it, 50% more. The people given the larger bag ate twice as many M&Ms because the bag was larger. So, when we go to stores and we buy in bulk, that may not be the very best thing we could do, even though we're saving money. Why? Why do we give more if the container is bigger? Any thoughts on that? Is it the clean the plate syndrome? How many of you grew up and you were taught to clean your plate? Yeah. So I think that definitely plays a big role in this. We don't want to waste food. It's expensive. So we eat it all, and we finish off our kids' plates or our spouse. Sometimes we'll eat their food too. There might be another thing too. It's they call it perceptual consumption. It's about the size of the bag or the container, and it's about how much we think is a portion of that container. So it's not just clean the plate. There's a lot of other things about like food psychology that play into how much we actually take. Do you know when you measure pasta, do you have any method on?
You know what? When I take pasta out of
out of a box,
I'll pour it in. But what I do is when I'm ready to eat it, you'll probably laugh at me, but I put it up. I get a measuring cup, and I put my portion in the measuring cup before I eat it.
Great.
That's just the way I do it.
Yes.
I also recently read a study where they did this with a bag of chips, and people who put multicolored chips eat less than people who eat chips that are just one color. So like maybe doing pasta with different colors might help, and they don't know why that is, but there's something about the multi-layer.
But that's a great idea. Once you've cooked your pasta, regardless of how much you pour out to cook, the bottom line is how much do you put on your plate. So I think it's great to measure. Anyone else have any ideas about how to rein in those portions? One ounce, 1.5 or 2 ounces, yeah, for the spaghetti, or yeah, great. Anything like that that would help you to again.
Put it on a smaller plate too.
Yes. Yes. Eat with chopsticks.
Yeah.
You know, anything to help us slow down. It'll take forever to eat spaghetti with chopsticks, right? Oh, this was a interesting experiment that they did at the University of Illinois again. And they refillable soup bowls. So in the cafeteria at the university, they set up the experiment, and these bowls of soup were set on the table, and 4 students were brought in at a time, and there were 4 soup bowls set up. 2 of the soup bowls were regular soup bowls with just 1 serving put in there. 2 of the other soup bowls were refillable. So they had the tube from the bottom of the soup bowl, and it ran into the kitchen where they slowly refilled it at such a slow rate that the 2 students eating did not know that their soup bowl was refilling. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're trying to eat this soup, and if you're one of those people that has the clean your bowl syndrome, you're gonna keep eating soup until it's gone, right? But in these 2 soup bowls, it never stopped. It kept filling up. And then when the students were asked afterwards how much they had eaten, they estimated the same number of ounces and calories. So they thought they had eaten a normal size of soup, when actually the women ate 30% more when their soup bowl was refilling, and the men ate 40% more soup when their soup bowl was refilling. This is not nice, right? That's kind of sneaky to do that, but it was the idea of do you know how much you're eating? And do we know when we're full? I think that's the other question. How do you know when you've had enough and when you're full, right? Everybody has to figure that out. So this was a cartoon. All right, how about buffets? Of course, right? We eat a whole lot more when we're at a buffet because we paid for it and it all looks so good, and we want to have some of all of it. We want to get our money's worth. And the interesting thing is, the more food you eat, the lower you rate the quality of that meal. Do you know why that would be?
Feel bad.
Yes, you have a stomach ache. You actually hurt, so you're going to actually score the food lower because of your pain, not necessarily because of the quality of the food. Thanks for sharing that. So it's like you don't look at a buffet the same after you have the soup.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Sushi got me in trouble once.
Sushi got you in trouble?
Well, I got me in trouble with sushi.
I like that.
My son says, Mom, let's go to all you can eat sushi. I thought, okay. Well,
All you
I
can
think,
eat
first of all, I can
sushi?
eat rice. And I probably ate a half of a California roll. And when we left, I was on the side of the road just trying to hurl. Because it was too much. You know, and it probably cost me $20-something just to buy. And it was like, ooh, you know. And it was an early lesson that you learn.
Great.
That ability to control yourself.
So all lessons are good lessons, definitely. The size of our utensils and plates and glasses and things. So, you know, a tall, thin glass versus a shorter, wider glass. Which glass do you think we would pour more liquid into? the tall, thin one, or the short, wide rim glass? Well, they did this experiment, and so we pour more into the shorter, wider glass. Height, we look at height of an object, and we don't account for width. So they found that on average people poured about 6 ounces into the tall, narrow glass and 11 ounces into the short, wider glass. So we don't account for wide. It's kind of interesting. So they figured that's about 77% more liquid into a shorter, wider glass. And they did this with bartenders. Now, the man here is Brian Wansik, but they used experienced bartenders who had at least 5 years of experience, and they asked them to pour into both a tall, narrow glass and a short, wide glass. They had to pour from their own experience the 1.5 shot glass. Without using a 1.5 shot glass, they had to pour what they knew to be 1.5 ounces into the tall glass and the short glass. And even the bartenders poured more into the which glass? The short. Even experienced bartenders. So it's very deceiving, the size and shape of our plates and forks and glasses. Candy dishes at work and etc. What happens when the candy dish is on the desk? What if it's in a clear glass or an opaque glass that you cannot see through? Or what happens if you move the candy dish 6 feet away from you? So what do you think, who's going to eat more? Out of which glass? And the clear glass where we can see it? Yes. Okay, so here's the results from that. In the clear glass, if it's on the desk, people averaged about 9 candies a day. And if these are the little Hershey's Kisses without nuts in them, just the plain Hershey Kisses, that's about 225 calories a day. Now, if you put the candy in an opaque glass or dish where you can't see through it, then it dropped down to about 6 or 5 candies a day. So that's about 150 calories. So Hershey Kisses are about 25-ish calories a piece if there's no nuts in them. And now what do you think happens if you move the dish farther away, at least 6 feet?
Well, you can have more because then you burn the calories walking.
You can eat more because you're burning calories to get up and go again. Okay.
Out of your chair.
All right. Exactly. So that extra effort, we would not do it. Yes. Put them on somebody else's desk, not yours. Yeah. Exactly. Isn't it interesting though? If you make it harder to get to, we won't eat as many. All right, well, if you do a little bit of math and you try to figure out, okay, if I'm eating candy every day, how many calories is that going to be? So if you eat about 5 candies a day for 5 days a week during the work week, 125 calories a day times 5 days a week, and in a year, that could be like 32,000 calories, or about 10-pound weight gain by the end of a year.
Are we talking just 5 Hershey Kisses a day?
Yes.
Yes, Adrian. Yep.
Yes.
You better take those away from me too.
Yes, and it's just Monday through Friday. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? And again, these are the plain Hershey candies without any nuts in them. You throw nuts in there and now you've changed it again. The difference between men and women, I found this to be kind of interesting. Comfort foods, men, you know, like meat and potatoes, and this was again the University of Illinois. Men liked meat and potatoes, soups, pasta, pizza. They like warm foods. They like to be served and doted on and cared for, warm foods. What kind of foods do you think are women's comfort foods? Okay, so again, why the difference between men and women? You know, men like being taken care of and cooked for, and since the women do most of the cooking, I think still, we have to fend for ourselves, so we're going to get something quick and easy out of a box. Okay, then they did something called expectation assimilation. Okay, so, and then I was thinking of Shakespeare, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Okay, so you go to a restaurant and they have these descriptive names for things. And they did this experiment too with the college students. So they took the example of chocolate cake, and you give everybody a slice of chocolate cake and you call it chocolate cake. And you know, maybe you put it on a paper plate. Then the same chocolate cake gets cut up and put on a china plate. And it's called Black Forest cake. Now, who's gonna eat more? Of the cake on the paper plate or the cake on the nice piece of china called Black Forest? Yes, absolutely. So this is called food sensuality and food fashions. You know, foods come in and out of fashion based on what we name it and how we sell it. And there's a lot of that going on in marketing of food. They did another thing with nuts, pistachios that have to be shelled. And I didn't get a picture of this up there, but they had students eat pre-shelled pistachios, and then some students had to shell their pistachios. Who do you think eats more? The bag that's already shelled, or the, yes.
Well, it's convenience.
Yes.
You don't have to work for it. And that's the issue with a lot of stuff that's convenient. It's also like you were talking about when you buy in bulk. You know, I mean, how easy is it when you buy in bulk just to continue to get out of the bag? I mean, one of the things that I learned is if I was going to buy something that was bulk, I put it, because I've learned over the years, believe me, it wasn't that way in the past. I actually take out what I was going to eat, count out, like, I'll give an example, chips. If it says a serving of 17 chips, I count out 17 chips and put it in a baggie. The same with crackers. I become, that's just the way I have to do it to kind of stay in control and keep order. But I have to count it out, put it in bags, and then I put it back in the bag so I can just take it out of the bag, out of my bulk bag. So, you know, put things up in portions.
Yes, that's a great idea. So definitely.
If you have to buy in bulk, portion it up.
We do it the second we get home.
Yep.
As soon as you get home, yes. And then keep it out of sight, all the little bags out of sight, yes.
I was going to say also, just because it's sold in a health food store, healthy does not make, right?
Right, that's a good point.
What are
Just
those-
because it's Trader Joe's doesn't mean.
Are just like a candy
Those are
bar.
just candy bars, and anybody who knows me will know that I tell them that protein bars are not the way to go. It might be okay in an emergency, and that's a rare occurrence, because it's just a glorified candy bar with sugar alcohols.
They call it.
Protein bar.
It probably has more, it has more calories usually than a protein drink.
The bar has
Yeah.
more calories than the protein drink, yeah.
Same with
Okay.
salads. Sometimes salads are as much as like 3 Big Macs or whatever.
If you're putting all the dressing on
And
there.
all the other good things on top of it.
So how can we, How can we get around that if we're going to order a salad at a restaurant? Use salsa for the dressing.
Ask for everything on the side.
Get the dressing on the side,
Well,
yes.
even, you know, as it's not like those salads are stored like that. They actually have to put them together. So basically, so you order a salad and it's got caramelized pecans on it and it's got croutons and it's got other vegetables and stuff with it. But you ask them to leave that stuff off. As much as you really might want to eat that, when you're ordering food out somewhere, what I tell people is you're the one in control. You know, you're the one in control. You're the one that can make those decisions. What is on
Your
that
salad.
food, you know, with whether it be salad or anything for that matter.
And it seems the restaurants are bending over backwards to do it the way you like it. So they will take things off for you. They will cut portions. So that's getting a lot better. But yes, so how many of you, when you order a salad, you dip your fork into the dressing, then into the salad, then great. Then you just get a little bit of the taste of the dressing on every bite. Great. You can change your environment at home, right? Smaller plates, smaller. You could buy the cocktail size forks and spoons. Or if you've got baby forks and spoons left over, get those out, put them on top, and start using those again. And anything you can do to slow down. So honestly, chopsticks could be a great idea. Now, how many of you use chopsticks when you go out for Chinese food? Okay. So you could use it as your usual utensil at home if you find yourself eating fast again and wanting to slow back down. Also, just, leave it to beaver kind of thing. Go back to eating together with the family at the table. Sit down at the table. Slow down. Smaller plates, smaller forks. Talk to each other. Put your fork down between bites. Find out how each other's day went, right? Any other comments on making dining more pleasant at home, slowing down?
Pay attention to your food. This is why when people who are just fresh post-op and they say, oh, I'm going back to work in 2 weeks. I'm going back to work in 2 weeks. This is why I tell you not to go back to work in 2 weeks, because you know what? Pay attention to your food. You get so tied up, a lot of times you get so tied up with work that you lose track of what you're doing. And so that's why I say you need to take a little bit more time so you kind of get used to eating and stuff. Pay attention to your food. Be aware of what you're eating, because we all know when we're tied into the electronic babysitter, our cell phones, whatever, we're not paying attention. And if you're at work and you're just back and you just started on your soft food phase and you're on the phone because 50 people have called you because you've got 1,000 messages, and you're trying to get through to everybody and get everything taken care of that you missed in the 2 weeks that you were out, you're going to end up getting in trouble. Either overeating, not eating enough, not drinking enough. That's why paying attention to your food is important. And that's why I tell them to give themselves an extra 2 weeks before they go back to work.
Okay, extra 2 weeks before you go back to work. Sounds good. If you don't want to weigh everything out, then you could try to eyeball things. And so protein, now usually we're talking about a woman's hand, but as a man, if your hands are going to be larger, and so that could possibly be your protein portion also, but just no fingers included, no thumb, it's just the palm right here. That's enough of a protein portion when it's time for you to eat a solid. It'll take some time before you can eat a piece of meat that size, but that's enough. Even years after the surgery, a piece that large is enough protein. That's about 3 ounces, the size of a woman's palm of her hand, or they've also said a deck of cards is about 3 ounces, the normal size deck of cards. And that's 21 grams of protein. that's great. I know Dr. Yadegar is aiming for about 25, 30 grams of protein per meal so that you can get 80 to 100 per day, 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. Well, 3 ounces of meat is 21 grams of protein. And it doesn't matter if that meat is fish, chicken, turkey, pork, beef. It's the protein part stays the same in all of those meats. The difference will be the amount of fat. So yes, when you go to beef, it's going to be a little bit more fat than when you go to fish or chicken, but the protein's the same. 21 in legal. 21 legal drinking age, 21 grams of protein right there. It's pretty good. It's good. A carbohydrate portion, you know, like a fistful or slightly less than a fistful, and it'll be a long time probably before you can eat that much of a carbohydrate. But be real careful with the carbs. The carbs should be high fiber carbs. They'll have some nutrition value, and the fiber will help you stay full longer. Just like the protein foods help you stay full longer, fiber can help if you can tolerate the fiber. And then the vegetable, 2 hands worth, you know, of salad or steamed vegetables. And I know another thing that Dr. Yadegar recommends is that when you sit down to a plate, you've got, when you're able to eat the solid piece of meat, a vegetable, and a little bit of a starch, what does he want you to eat first? Protein. The protein. Every bite of that piece of meat first, then start the vegetable, then if you still have room, go for a few bites of the starch or the carbohydrate. Just small changes that you can make in your environment, and you know, just one step at a time. Put the healthy food in front. Keep things, you know, put up in your cabinets. Don't leave everything out on the table, because then just seeing it is going to make you want to eat. And you know, every time you make one small change and you're successful with that, then you know, you get more confident to make more changes. So start small and go big. And then if being accountable helps too, you know, accountable to a friend, you know, let a friend know what you're doing, so they're aware and they can help. Family members. Work environment might be a little more challenging, you know, but anything you can do at work to safeguard your environment when it comes to the food at work. Or, you know, programs, there's good programs. This is a support program here for you. Weight Watchers can be a pretty good program. I firmly believe in counting something. Either count calories, or count points, or count grams, but count something, especially in the beginning when you're trying to stay on course. How many of you have ever kept a food journal, either on paper or, okay, how did that work for you? I know Dr. Yadegar loves MyFitnessPal, and how many of you have that on your iPhones or smartphones? Yes, great. So, and you know, you can use MyFitnessPal. It's a free app for your smartphones, or you can use MyFitnessPal on your computer, and it's all free. So on
Dr. Yadegar's website, there's a post about how to reset MyFitnessPal for your protein grams.
Okay.
Customize the settings.
Yeah.
So on Dr. Yadegar's website, how to increase the protein on the MyFitnessPal. Great. Also, you can use MyFitnessPal as a resource. Like if you're thinking about going to a restaurant and you're wondering, oh, I wonder what this has in it, you can type it in there before you get to the restaurant, and you'll know exactly how many calories, how much protein, how much carbohydrate and fat.